So excited to be here at Vector Space Day. Awesome audience and great conference put on by Quadrant. My name is Stephen Chin. I run the developer relations team at Neo4j, and I'm going to talk about how you can improve the quality, the accuracy, and the explainability of your AI models. And doing this together with graph and AI technology. So I think that as we've all been building applications and kind of ushering in development in this new era of AI, a lot of us have felt like this, right? It's challenging, it's frustrating at times. Who here has had a PR reviewed by AI? Okay, a whole bunch of people. How does that make you feel? a little, like when Claude Code's helping us code, that's a good feeling. But then when a lesser AI is kicking back our things because of, code issues or stuff which may or may not be accurate or may be hallucinating, it's not quite a great feeling. And also, when you're building AI systems, when you're building enterprise systems, often we're being asked to build things which are difficult, which are challenging with the current state of technology. And we all need to make a decision. Are we going to live with the status quo? Are we going to take the blue pill and suffer through disparate systems, disconnected data, which is in email, in Slack, in audit trails and logs? Or are we going to take the red pill and then merge all of this into a context graph where we have full auditability, traceability, and we're actually building a reasoning trace around all of our data, which we can use to quantify why we're making decisions. And this is one of the big things which has come up since the beginning of the year, is how we can build context graphs that more accurately reflect the technology using things like knowledge graphs. Now, the Adobe guys did a great job talking about why you want to use knowledge graphs and some of the advantages of using graph and database technology for building AI architectures. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this works behind the scenes. So if you're not familiar with knowledge graphs, they're constructed of nodes, of relationships, and of properties on top of those. You can have properties both on nodes and relationships. And here's a simple example of a graph. So we have Dan, who we have information about him, his birthday, his Twitter handle. We have Anne, and they know each other. Dan lives with Anne, so we know who wears the pants in this family, or this relationship. And also he drives Anne's car. And we have some information about the car as well. So we know the type, we know the model, the make, but we also have an embedding. So one of the great things you can do with graph technology and vector databases like Quadrant is you can use them together to represent both vector information where you get similarity searches. It's a great way for you to pull back relevant information. And you can also do graph algorithms where you're able to dig in and pull in some of the semantic information that's encoded in relationships in some of your enterprise business data. And putting these together, putting LLMs and embeddings together with graph technology gives you the best of both worlds and allows you to build more explainable AI systems. This allows you to store the information, to visualize it, actually to explain in a visual way to your customers, to folks who are using your system, and then also to better analyze the information that's coming from the graph to answer more difficult questions like, here's an example of a healthcare question. What was the care plan associated with Andrea Senkin's emphysema? And you kind of have the spectrum here where we can ask the LM directly and try to get an answer. And you can see that even with no information about the patients, no context on it, it will always confidently answer. LLMs will never tell you they don't know. They just confidently answer with information that it does know about, which is emphysema. We can improve this by doing a baseline RAG system, by giving it access to documents and information, which are stored in a vector database. But the best answer we actually get by combining the vector and the graph algorithms together. And you can see here that it actually pulled back specific information about medication management, smoking cessation counseling, pulmonary rehabilitation exercises. So it not only knows that they're a patient, but it knows some of their medical history. Clearly there's a problem with smoking that's caused the emphysema, maybe some past medical treatments. And if you're a doctor, you want to be giving an accurate response, not just a correct response. Here's an architectural pattern for this sort of system which I described, and I'll show a couple demos of this as well. But basically, you're pulling in the user question to your application. You're combining vector and graph similarity. One of the easiest ways to build a graph reg system is first you do a vector search, pull back information, you follow those to the relevant nodes in the graph, and then you can use algorithms, data science algorithms like the Louvain algorithm, which is a community grouping algorithm, k-nearest neighbors, to pull back relevant graphs and then pass that as context to the LM so you get a more complete answer. And that's how you get the sort of answers that I was showing in the previous thing, and how you can improve the quality of the results coming back. Now, let's talk a bit about memory systems. So we talked about retrieval, which is kind of the foundation of doing graph algorithms, but to do really complicated things, we also need to have memory systems which we can build on top of this, which help us to answer questions coming from our system. The three basic types of memory are short-term memory, long-term memory, and reasoning memory. And if we encode this inside of our graph database together with our information that's coming from our enterprise system, now we can start to answer more complex systems. So the short-term memory would be, some examples of this would be conversation storage about what the user has been discussing with the LM or what your agents have been talking to each other about. Multi-stage entity extraction, so if you're pulling back information from MCP tools or other documents, doing entity resolution. Long-term memory is now capturing the longer context of our application and what it's working on. A good model for this is the Paul O model, so persons, organizations, locations, events, and objects, and this is also the model that I'm using for the first demo, which I'll show you. And this now allows you to have information organized according to a regular schema. One of the important things when you're building on top of a data model or a graph model is making sure that you have a clearly identified schema or ontology that you want the LM to record information, and then it makes it much easier to query, search for it, and use it. And LMs actually are much better than most of us, including me, at building graphs, writing Cypher, doing all of this work. So it's also a great time to be building applications using graph databases, because you don't need to be an expert in graph technology, because your LLM is an expert in graph technology. The third type of memory is reasoning memory. And reasoning memory is capturing the decision traces, the audits, the provenance of previous requests. And this is the missing gap in a lot of systems now, because we build systems which know a lot about our customers, a lot about our systems, a lot about the domain knowledge, but they have to keep recalculating and rethinking about the information. They often give different results. If we capture previous decisions and audit trails on what was decided before, then this grounds your system and makes it more reliable when it's subsequently answering similar questions. And so by doing this now, we have a system which has information that's on the present about the current conversations. It has this long-term history about entities, organizational flows, and now it has decision traces as well. And this is kind of like getting plugged into the matrix, right? We've taken our agent systems and we've given it the capabilities of understanding the longer context of this. Why graphs are a great tool for doing this. So graphs make relationships first class. Unlike a relational database where everything is rows and columns, and to actually map information you need to do a join. With graph technology, this is the standard pattern for how you actually look at things. It gives you this multi-hop traversal where now we can go from node to node, traveling across relationships with very high performance. If you have to traverse and pull back dozens of relationships, that would be dozens of joins in a relational table. Whereas in a graph database, it's a natural way of navigating and pulling back information. You get now structural similarity by combining vector databases together with graph. You can explain the decisions. And then this gives you kind of this cross-domain knowledge and a production-ready system. Graph databases are not a new technology. They've been around for a few decades commercially. They're enterprise scale. They can solve extremely large problems for large corporations like Adobe and others. A lot of pharmaceutical, a lot of financial companies use it as key infrastructure. And we have an open source project which we did to demonstrate this, the Neo4j agent memory. And what it does is it takes the short-term memory, the long-term memory, the reasoning memory, and it puts this together in a simple API where now you can put this into a context graph, encode all this information, and then we can pull back more insights into it. So this is the architecture of the demo. First demo I'm going to show you. It takes all of the short-term memory and all of the messages. It combines that with long-term memory for entities and organizations. And then it also pulls back all these reasoning traces and tool calls. And then it is using this to showcase data from Lenny's podcast. Who is a fan of Lenny's podcast in the audience? Okay, so a lot of folks in the audience. It's a great resource where you can hear the latest things which are happening in AI, kind of the latest trends in product management, but it's all encoded inside of like long format podcasts. So wouldn't it be great if we could take all this information from the podcast and then see it visually inside of it? Let me talk a bit about context graphs as well. So context graphs give us this visual trail of how we're able to pull traditional audit trails and context graphs together to get more information out of it. A traditional audit log, just recording actions. So that basically gives you information serially. With a context graph, now we can explain why. We can explain the decision traces and the provenance around this information. It makes it queryable, it makes it actionable, it makes it something which we can use. Context graph-based retrieval allows you to do things like do search, pull information, and then store it back into the database so you can improve the quality of the results. And then this gives you agent memory, which you can use to then build your context and improve the reasoning traces inside the database. An example of this is like financial services. So here we're pulling back entities. So people, accounts, transactions, and organizations. Events, which are happening over the time frame. And then the context, the why, so different policies and reasoning. And then we can encode this and create a financial services context graph, which gives us this information about the financial service scenario. So here we have a graph where the decisions and the policies are part of this. The demo architecture is it sits on top of a support system and a CRM. We have internal business data. Then we have a bunch of back-end services. So we have different MCP tools, a Claude agent, and we're going to do vector search on top of this. And then the front end is a Next.js application with a Chakra UI, and then some visualization on top of this. I showed you guys, talked a little bit about how you can accomplish things with using context graphs for pulling information back from reasoning traces, how we can also do things with pulling back information from podcasts and other technologies. And a great way to learn more about this would be going to Neo4j Academy, Graph Academy. So this is a free online training resource. It has tutorials. There's a context graph course, which we just released recently as well, which is a great resource. We also have courses on Cypher, courses on building your own chatbots and agents using Python and JavaScript. And thanks so much for having me at Vector Space Day. I hope you enjoy the rest of the talks today.